prophetic words mean, but this isn't the first time that she's afraid or has done something mysterious. She's performed any number of miracles already. The hands of his watch move with agonizing slowness, as though counting down to the end of the world. In the hours since contacting Ryoko, Koji went back to his apartment, showered, changed clothes, and even had his first full meal in days. He wanted to take a nap, knowing that he needed the rest, but no matter how hard he tried, sleep never came. Forcing himself to relax only made his nerves colder and sharper. With nothing else to do, he decides to wander the city until nightfall. Downtown Tokyo is bustling, surrounded by smiling pedestrians, bright lights, and windows decorated early for Christmas. He feels as if all the happiness in the world is gathered in this very place. Koji takes it all in, burning it into his memory like it's the last thing he'll ever see. Is the world so beautiful because of the horrors that lurk in its dark shadows? The glow of the city can no longer warm him. Perhaps that's why it seems so precious. Koji watches the city for hours. It seems unreachably distant, like reading the obituary of someone you loved long ago. His phone rings at 8 p.m. It's Ryoko. Their conversation is short. She hangs up as soon as they decide where to meet. So ends Tono Koji's final night of peace. Ryoko arrives at the diner at 1 a.m., 1 hour later than agreed upon. She has a heavy-looking duffel bag under her arm, and Koji doesn't feel like asking what the bulges represent. Ryoko doesn't sound at all apologetic, but Koji decides to just nod expressionlessly. Only a few tables are filled at this hour, like lonely islands in the midst of the vast restaurant. After sending the near bleary-eyed waitress away with an order for 2 coffees, Koji and Ryoko are left all alone in the corner of the dining area. Staring at the brown stain at the bottom of her cup, Ryoko says, her voice hard and flat. Sorry, I've been missing some line, guys. I've just been so entrenched in the story.
Yeah.
I am, seriously.
Yeah.
It's really coming to a big climax. Wow, I can't believe I just said that.
Good job!
That's all. The things that Fuminori has done are so horrifying that Koji's only recourse, his only hope of coping, is to kill the man who was once his friend. And yet, despite that, Ryoko makes this nightmare sound like it was just the beginning. Koji still doesn't understand where her morbid cynicism comes from, nor does he want to. Her brusque tone says that she doesn't care whether or not Koji is satisfied with her explanation. Koji considers Ryoko's words calmly, without letting himself get emotional like before. The final line, true, Fuminori is somewhere beyond that. Though Koji has gone far to be willing to kill Fuminori, he has no intention of eating his enemy's flesh once he's dead. That, at least, still separates the two. Then what about Ryoko, who has treated Koji like an ignorant fool ever since she saved him from the well? How close is she to Fuminori? In response to Koji's biting question, Ryoko's mocking smile turns inward. Oh, fuck! Ryoko pats one of her duffel bag's bulges. Her quick denial isn't what Koji was expecting. Ryoko pauses, perhaps needing time to decide how best to explain. Koji doesn't know what to say. He's amazed, impressed even, that someone with such a serious case of delusional paranoia could function as one of Tokyo University's top doctors. At this point, Ryoko seems to have gotten everything off of her chest. Smiling like someone who's finished a hard job, she asks,
的な感想ありがとう。でもね、君だって他人事じゃなくなるよ。
Koji is already doubtful that meeting with Ryoko was the right thing to do. The one thing that he and Ryoko have in common is an unwillingness to leave Fuminori to the proper authorities. Fuminori not only killed Koji's lover and friend, but went as far as to file their corpses. Koji isn't about to give him the chance to get off on an insanity plea. No matter what crimes he must commit, Koji must end Fuminori with his own two hands. If he doesn't, he knows that he will never sleep again. It helps to have a partner in crime, but only when that partner doesn't cause trouble. Ryoko talks big about exposing Ogai's secrets, but she might just have a head full of delusions. If so, Koji needs to rethink this whole thing. Ryoko smirks and shakes her head ruefully, but puts up no other resistance. She pulls a stack of paper from her bag and hands it to Koji. The loose-leaf sheets are bound with string. As directed, Koji looks through the handwritten pages and gives up after less than 3 minutes. Koji deliberately scoffs at the document, doing everything he can to show contempt for what he just read. At the same time, he tries desperately not to remember the mountain of bones in Ogai's bathtub and the unidentifiable smell permeating Fuminori's house.
P3 レベルのバイオハザードとして取り扱うつもりだったらしい。その程度の用心で十分だったのかどうかも知れたもんじゃないんだが、近隣の住民を退去させるべきだったんだが、まあそこは偉い人たちが偉い人なりに頑張って、その代わり私たちはキャンバス中のネズミを一匹残らず駆除する羽目になった。
At their first meeting, Ryoko brushed Koji off when he asked about Ogai Masahiko. Now, however, she's telling the whole story. Her voice is flat and emotionless as a machine's. Ryoko pauses for a moment, then grins with self-disdain so maniacal that it strikes Koji like a blow. As though fleeing from the quiet insanity that he keeps glimpsing in Ryoko, Koji finds himself paging through the loose leaf in his hands. He reads a line at random. If he lets himself believe it, then everything else, all the logical rules that define the world, will be rendered meaningless. So, she can't be pierced or slashed. Does that mean she has to be burned alive?
Maybe, like tied to a stake and burned, maybe?
Maybe. Ryoko reaches into her duffel bag again, this time removing a stainless steel thermos that looks to hold about 500 cc's of liquid. Now that she's given up on persuading him, her ascent is swift and cold. At this moment, Koji's fate has likely ceased to matter to her. Despite the determination in her voice, Koji can't bring himself to trust the paranoid doctor completely. Her reasons are similar to Koji's own. He doesn't want to bring a murderer to justice, nor does he want revenge for Omi and Yo. If he did, he could have left everything to the police. The reason he can't is that the villain is Fuminori. The man he believed was his friend has turned his whole world upside down. Everything and everyone with a part in this madness is to blame, and that includes himself for allowing the betrayal. His self-loathing, his desire to destroy is what's keeping him on his feet. Koji nods, pulls out his cell phone, and calls his friend for what will probably be the last time. The call goes through quickly. He must have been waiting for it. Fuminori must have been quite anxious to hear from Koji. His voice is hard and completely emotionless. Koji can't help but smile at Fuminori's disappointment. Perhaps Ryoko's maniacal sadism is rubbed off on him. He's lying, Koji thinks, remembering the contents of Fuminori's refrigerator. Just what a part of Yo did you eat, Fuminori? Did you carve that poor girl up like a pig? I think the only thing he ate of her is her pussy.
Ah! I don't even think he did that. That involved giving her pleasure.
It's true.
Sure. I'm just gonna click for a bit. Of course you'd be careful. Holy shit. Sorry, I should read that line. Huh? Aw, she's impressed. How nice. Ryoko's praise sounds serious, drawing a glare from Koji. Why would you glare? It's nice. No, she's not seen too many movies. She knows her shit, man. Don't question her. With those bold words, Ryoko grabs her duffel bag and rises from her seat.
で、この店を待ち合わせに選んだのは君だったな。そうですか。コーヒーの責任を取れ。
Ha! Yeah, pay the bill, bitch. Even after Koji arrives at Y Station as directed, Fuminori calls him and makes him change location 3 more times. Fair enough. Koji's beginning to doubt that Fuminori is trying to make sure that he's alone. He might just be using the time to guess when Koji arrives at each designated location. Nevertheless, Koji can't let his guard down. Fuminori might choose any moment to make sure he isn't bringing any help. If he makes a mistake and puts Fuminori on alert, Ryoko will lose her chance to take him by surprise. She'll just have to put up with the cramped trunk for a little while longer. Is she in a trunk? Oh, poor Ryoko. Fucking poor Ryoko. After the nature preserve and the dry riverbed, the 4th location to which Fuminori sends Koji is the thick forest at the top of the foothills, high above the developed area at their base. His car's GPS shows a road that leads nowhere, but according to Fuminori, there should be an old abandoned sanatorium here. Oh good, we're meeting an abandoned sanatorium, because that's a good idea. The park and the river were empty this late at night, but during the day they would have likely have considerable traffic. This time, however, his instinct is telling him that it's definitely a place that no one could find, not even by accident. It looks like this is the final stop. Koji drives up the steep incline, soon leaving the residential neighborhood behind. Even though the hands of progress are right at its doorstep, the undeveloped forest is darker than he expected. This looks like a great place to live in secret, or to kill someone and hide the body. Places like this, lost and forgotten, aren't found only in deep jungles and hidden valleys. Holes in the world are everywhere, even in the midst of civilization. A broken-down gate post suddenly appears in the Accord's headlights, like a ghost rising from the darkness. It looks like this is the final stop. Koji rolls up to the gate and turns off the engine, giving himself to the silence of the forest. His phone starts ringing almost immediately. He doesn't need to check who it's from.
I'll take over.
Okay.
Fuminori is nearby, close enough to hear the sound of the engine. A shiver of excitement shoots up Koji's spine. Fuminori hangs up without another word. After grabbing his new flashlight from the glove compartment and checking that the revolver is still in his pocket, Koji opens the door, making sure to pop the trunk at exactly the same time. Ryoko shouldn't need any more explanation than that. Realizing that the interior roof light will stay on and broadcast that the trunk isn't closed, Koji quickly unscrews the bulb, then gets out the car and deliberately slams the driver's side door hard. Mountains of trash litter the front yard, forming a serviceable barricade. Koji sees everything from small refrigerators and mopeds to huge chunks of concrete and plaster that must have been abandoned by construction workers. The fact that they could get away with leaving all this stuff behind shows just how remote a place this is. Glancing sidelong at the rear of his car, Koji sees no movement inside the barely open trunk. Ryoko knows what she's doing. She'll probably wait until Fuminori's attention is focused on Koji before making her move. The moon is brighter than usual, allowing Koji to walk through the front yard without tripping on debris. Staying alert, he heads for the building beyond the mountains of trash. Something must be buried beneath the piles of garbage, because the whole yard is filled with the sharp stink of chemicals. Even the homeless probably wouldn't come to this place. If you need to get out of the wind and rain, there are plenty of shelters more suitable. When he launches the gaping doorless entrance to the building, Koji glances back the way he came. His Accord, parked at the gate, is hidden behind mountains of trash. Even if Fuminori is watching from the inside of the sanatorium, he shouldn't be able to see Ryoko crawl out of the trunk. It looks like she'll get her chance to take him by surprise. How many times now has he stood like this, alone in some ominously silent place, far removed from his everyday life? sneaking into deathly quiet houses to find traces of unimaginable happenings that become normal as going to class. The houses that he explored before were like freshly shed cicada cells, empty and dilapidated, but with traces of the life they had sheltered. This place, however, is different. A perfect ruin, its walls and pillars rising from the dark forest like an army of ghosts, with no sign at all that people once lived and worked here. The structure resembles a skeleton more than a shell. Time and the elements have stripped it of its former shape, and now there is only death. Koji has gone as far as he can. This must be the final stop. What will Fuminori's next move be? He must be planning to kill Koji, but how? Just as he's about to turn on his flashlight, Koji reconsiders. If he wanders around with the light on, he'll be broadcasting his exact location. That'll give the advantage to Fuminori, who's probably lying in wait for him right now. He holds the light before him in his left hand with his finger poised on the switch. His right hand, he raises the revolver, keeping it pointed in the same direction. Now ready to fire when he turns on the light, Koji steps quietly into the dark ruin. It takes a while for his eyes to adjust, but even when they do, he has only moonlight streaming through the empty windows to guide him. Everything appears gray and indistinct. However, Fuminori has to deal with the same conditions if he's hiding here. This is a battle of nerves, exhausting and deadly, where the first to make a sound and give away his position will lose. The rooms on both sides of the hallway are all open. Some are even missing their doors. Koji creeps up to each entrance, checks to make sure no one is inside, and then carefully proceeds on. The stink that he noticed in the garden has changed. It now smells more organic, like rotting meat. It's the exact same smell that filled Fuminori's house. The organism's flesh freely expands in a manner that renders piercing damage and meaningless. Koji grits his teeth, forces the madman's words out of his head. What good can come from taking them seriously? This isn't time for such useless squish. Koji freezes and stares down the hall. It was a wet sound that he heard just now, like someone dragging their feet through a swamp, and it came from the room at the end of the hall. Someone is there. Something is there. Something alive. Koji creeps around toward the sound, his light and gun at the ready. Squish. Squish. Now it sounds like someone squeezing mud through their fingers, and as he gets closer, Koji begins to hear breathing. Could it be Fuminori? No, that's impossible. He should be waiting for a chance to ambush Koji, not making careless noise. As he proceeds, the strange sound coming through the cracks in the concrete grows clearer. Before he knows it, he is standing on the threshold. The room is filled with a thick, viscous darkness, just like every other room that he's passed. There is more than just darkness, however. Something is here. He can hear pained breathing, like that of a wounded animal, and what sounds like sobbing. Sobbing? Now that he's given away his position, he might as well turn on his light. For some reason, however, Koji feels that to do so would have disastrous consequences. Sobbing. The last time I heard her voice, on the phone, she was sobbing. The wheezing suddenly stops. And then... a whisper comes out of the darkness, though not a human voice, not by any measure. It speaks in some sort of blasphemous semblance of human words. A nightmare's flash of insight connects the dots in Koji's mind. It can't be. Yo doesn't sound like this. She doesn't smell like this. But if it's not Yo, then how does it know his name? Why is it begging him for help? No, it can't be Yo. She's human, not some creature that slithers and hides in the shadows. The thing wriggles closer. His reason cries out, imploring him to switch the light on before it's too late, or to turn and run if he cannot. But Koji is unable to make either choice. He can only call out in vain to the amorphous shape in the darkness. Something soft and slimy slides over Koji's toes. Instinct overrides his will, forcing him to turn on his light and shine it at his feet. The white beam reveals everything, the merciless truth that finally shatters Koji's sanity. Terror wipes his mind of all but 2 words: gun and trigger. His finger responds with instant obedience. There is a burst of tremendous light and sound, both more intense than he expected, and then the destructive forces are swallowed up by the darkness. His ears are still ringing from the bang, but he hears a weak voice coming from the shadows. Koji screams and pulls the trigger again and again, believing that salvation can come only from the barrel of his gun. Light and darkness, explosion and silence. They dance their dance 3 more times. Koji doesn't even need to aim. The horrible creature is right at his feet, too close to miss. Ryoko warned him of how many bullets were left in the revolver. That information was already driven from his mind. Even after the cold, heavy groom wraps himself around him one more. Koji keeps pulling the trigger like a man possessed, paying no heed to the clicking of the empty weapon. His panic-stricken legs suddenly give out, sending him down hard on his backside. Even then, he keeps firing the empty gun. He knows no other way to erase the memory of the thing that he glimpsed in the beam of his flashlight. The light, which fell from his hand during the attack, is now pointing a completely different direction. And though all 4 bullets have hit our target, they were Koji's last card to play, which leaves him alone in the darkness with no way to defend himself. And just as he realizes this, a mass of rotting flesh rolls onto him like a tidal wave.
Pain. Pain and suffering.
He can no longer even scream as the thing pushes him onto his back. With fear seizing his throat in his iron grip, Koji struggles desperately against the monster as it crawls up his body towards his face. Covering his face with his left hand, he scrabbles wildly along the floor with his right, searching for a way out that doesn't exist. His mind is that of a feral animal, empty of everything but primal terror. And that is why, when his right hand closes around something hard at the last moment, he recognizes it instinctively as a weapon. Putting every ounce of strength into his arm, Koji swings the heavy object on the creature on top of him. He hears the thud of the blunt object striking something soft and wet, and then Koji's attacker rolls off of him. As soon as he's able to move freely, Koji leaps to his feet and grabs his new weapon with both hands, brandishing it like a charm to ward off evil. Only now does he realize he's holding a rusty steel pipe. The monster is still sobbing. With a cry that is part terrified scream, part enraged roar, Koji raises the steel pipe and brings it crashing down on the cowering creature. He hears a wet sound and feels a blood-chilling sensation of its thick, soft flesh absorbing the blow. These combine to evoke an instinctive loathing that wipes his mind of all but the urge to destroy. Consumed by the same desperation with which he kept firing the empty gun, Koji rains blow after blow down upon his enemy. After the 10th blow, it stops sobbing. After the 20th blow, it stops moving. After the 30th blow, it begins to feel and sound more like he's beating a puddle of viscous liquid. Well, Yo's dead.
Oh, poor Yo.
Koji doesn't stop. I'm going to save here. I don't want to redo any of this shit.
That's fair.
The pipe in his hand, covered with unidentifiable fluids and filth, suddenly feels unbearably heavy. Ryoko's voice plays back in his head. Can you take over for a little bit?
Sure. wrong mouse. Haha. You think we'll be able to finish this game, or do we need to call it?
No, I want to finish this game.
20 years of memories in the light of the sun. If they were indeed precious to him, then he should never have come to this place. The black flames of despair rise within him, consuming fear and revulsion and pity. Only rage and hate remain. Every cell in his body cries out for vengeance, for the blood of the man who poisoned him with truth and tore him from the womb of innocence. Oh, I got it now. And then Koji, slave to hate, hears the sound of someone sneaking up behind him. Koji whirls, swinging the steel pipe with all the force he can muster. Please don't hit Dr. Tran. His enemy hastily leaps back to avoid the strike, surprised by his failure to catch Koji off guard. Twisted shadows dance in the beam of light on the floor. Readying his pipe for the next blow, Koji faces off against his second attacker. Yeah. It's Fuminori time! Before this moment, Koji could not have imagined that he would speak his friend's name with such hatred. Oh! That's a scary picture. Hey, that was a pretty... Oh, what am I doing? You can read that. Even now, Fuminori is smiling, as though the huge axe in his hands is just a sick joke. At least he respects us a little bit for that shit. Koji sneers too, unable to contain his contempt for the notion. Oh, we're gonna realize that now we killed Yo? Damn, that's gonna suck. Ooh, pretty pictures! The blade of Fuminori's axe carves a murderous arc through the darkness, glittering menacingly in the faint light coming from the floor. Koji raises his pipe to block the ferocious swing. The heavy impact numbs his arms, but his large frame takes the blow without giving any ground. Fuminori presses the attack, delivering a second blow and a third. His axe, designed for chopping down trees, is deadlier and more durable than the piece of pipe found discarded on the floor. Each strike, Koji's blocks sends chunks of rust flying from his makeshift weapon. He can't win as long as he's on the defensive. He needs to create an opportunity to attack. Koji blocks a crushing downward swing, then pushes back hard before Fuminori can pull away, throwing him off balance. Fuminori stumbles backwards, then plants his feet to steady himself.
I'm sorry.
Taking advantage of his opponent's temporary immobility, Koji delivers a ow!
I'm sorry.
Pushing low kick to Fuminori's outer thigh. Good. Fuminori grunts and retreats, swinging his axe wildly to prevent Koji from following up with another attack. I hope we kill Fuminori.
Same.
Koji, however, does not press his advantage. He just stands where he is, calmly spearing Fuminori with his stare. Take over?
Fuminori comes in for another attack, but the damage to his right leg seems to be slowing his swing. Slowing his swing. Easily blocking the axe with his pipe, Koji waits for Fuminori to exhaust himself. Fuminori delivers blow after heavy blow, howling savagely all the while. What he does not realize, however, is that the situation now favors composure, not brute force. When Fuminori raises his axe high for yet another attack, Koji sees that his movements have grown dull enough. Seizing the opportunity, Koji charges into Fuminori's range and grabs the heft of the axe and with his left hand. As Fuminori recoils in fear, Koji brings his pipe crashing into his enemy's unprotected side. Feels the crunch of ribs breaking. The pain drives Fuminori to his knees. Staring down at Fuminori's defenseless head, Koji, surprised by his own lack of emotion, raises his pipe to deliver the finishing blow, which is when something wraps itself around his left ankle. The instant Koji panics at the unexpected sensation, something soft yet strong winds itself around his right leg and drags him to the floor before he can resist. He twists his body and tries to swing the steel pipe at the unseen enemy behind him, but his right hand, too, is seized by the same flexible force. He wasn't able to feel it through his pants, but his blood turns to ice at the cold, slimy sensation of the thing wrapped around his uncovered wrist. That monster's still alive? Oh, it's Saya!
Oh shit!
Fuminori says encouragingly. Even while kneeling on the floor, his face twisted in pain, manages a terrible and victorious grin. Saya. This monster is Saya.
No shit.
Koji struggles desperately to free himself from the creature's slimy grip, but more tentacles swarm over his body, rendering him helpless.
That's a lot of ahs.
The horror is already driven Koji half mad. Just imagining the creature's appearance is enough to send him into a mindless panic. His scream suddenly dies as a slimy appendage seizes his throat. His most deadly tentacle isn't just cutting off his windpipe, it's trying to snap his neck, and it's getting tighter.
Shit!
Koji is certain that this is the end, but just as his vision begins to dim, an explosion brings him back to his senses.
Ooh.
With a horrifying, inhuman scream, the creature releases Koji and retracts its tentacles. The first thing he sees after regaining his mobility is Ryoko running down the hall with a smoking shotgun in one hand and a silver tube in the other.
You do it, Ryoko!
Ryoko responds by tossing him the tube. Though still lying on the floor, he manages to snatch it out of the air. It's the thermos she showed him at the restaurant, the one she called her secret weapon. At the same time, she aims her gun at Fuminori, who's still on his knees 5 paces away. The double-barreled shotgun still has one shot loaded. The monster that attacked Koji is writhing in agony. It hasn't yet recovered from Ryoko's shot. But he's already seen that bullets aren't enough to kill these creatures. Now it's his only chance. Fuminori growls, gritting his teeth against the pain of his broken ribs. Forcing himself to be calm, Koji stands and carefully unscrews the lid of the thermos. There's no question in his mind that something extremely potent is inside. As soon as it is unsealed, a thick white mist pours out of the thermos, and the surrounding air becomes freezing cold. Instantly guessing what's inside, Koji lobs the thermos at the pile of flesh convulsing on the floor.
Is it liquid nitrogen?
The thermos flails through the air, spewing white fog, like a baptismal font showers its liquid contents upon the hellish creature.
Is it liquid nitrogen?
Its scream this time is incomparable to before. The monster thrashes in agony, wreathed in white smoke. Its screams are joined by Ryoko's cackling.
Or is it white phosphorus? Oh, Jesus!
Her eyes blaze with a maniac glee, as if to say that sanity was a small price to pay for the joy of vanquishing her nightmare. Monsters, I'll kill you! Fuminori staggers to his feet, roaring black curses. His rage seems to have drowned out the pain of his broken bones. Ryoko is not one to underestimate the threat posed by his axe. Her mad laughter fades away, leaving only a cold smile as she pulls the trigger. With a short burst of dark flame, Ryoko's gun sputters and dies. Ryoko is not an expert on firearms. It never occurred to her that shotgun shells need proper storage, and besides, she always expected any situation where her gun would be necessary would also be the one she would not survive. Fuck, man. You want to take over for a sec?
Yeah. Cursing in agony, anger, and dismay, Ryoko breaks the shotgun open and awkwardly pulls the dud out. Meanwhile, Fuminori stalks towards her like a vengeful demon, the head of his axe screeching as it drags along the floor. I have to stop him. Koji tries to charge Fuminori, but only succeeds at sending himself sprawling. One of his shoes is stuck to the floor, frozen by the liquid nitrogen. As Ryoko fumbles in her pocket for a new shell, Fuminori closes the distance and raises his axe in both hands. Ksa! Koji curses and rips his shoe free from the frozen concrete, but he knows that he'll never make it in time. Ryoko thrusts a new shell into the chamber of her shotgun and snaps it closed, and then looks up to find her target. Fuminori is right before her, too close to evade, and his axe is already crashing down with the wind howling in its wake. The sound of bones shattering, tendon snapping, and flesh tearing blends together in foul harmony. Oh god. Oh no! The thick blade enters Ryoko's left shoulder, plowing through her collarbone and shoulder blade, smashing several ribs and popping her lung like a balloon before stopping at the center of her chest. Her expression frozen in shock by the impact. She sprays a geyser of blood from her mouth. Oh, Ryoko. She should have died instantly, but through some unimaginable force of will, Ryoko clings to life for a few seconds more. Grinning through her bloodstained lips, she raises her shotgun. Waifu. My waifu. This is my waifu? This is my waifu.
Yes.
Not to the front, but to the side. She's gonna shatter Saya. Beyond the barrel of her gun, wearing a 77-degree Kelvin mist like a white cloak of death, is the weakly wriggling Saya. Fuminori's scream vanishes into the roar of the shotgun. The destruction is absolute. The impact of the shotgun pellets obliterate the half of Saya's body that fell prey to the liquid nitrogen. The frozen particles of Saya's shattered flesh drift to the floor like snow. Even the creature's special biology is insufficient to seal wounds of this size. From the opening pours its internal organs, a tide of liquid, slime, and fat whose color is far too foul to belong to any living creature. The monster convulses, wailing in a weak, pitiful voice. Would you like to?
With his axe still buried in Ryoko's body, Fuminori stares at the dying creature, his expression utterly devoid of emotion. Koji grabs his pipe and prepares to attack Fuminori from behind, but freezes when he sees the emptiness on the face of the man he hated. Fuminori pulls his axe out of Ryoko's corpse and looks at Koji with glazed eyes. There's no recognition in them, nor hate, nor rage. When Koji meets Fuminori's blank stare, he knows. There's nothing left in him to kill. Fuminori grips the axe closer to his head and raises it high, the blade towards his face. Koji doesn't know whether he should interfere, and even if he wanted to, what could he say to stop Fuminori? Fuminori pulls his head back, slowly but surely, then drives his face into the blade of the axe like a spring-loaded toy. His skull caves in with a dull, wet sound, and the spray of blood catches Koji in the face. Despite Fuminori's utter lack of hesitation, his first attempt at suicide only succeeds in transforming his face into a hash of crimson. Fuminori pulls his head back one more time, even slower than before, and with every ounce of strength still left in his body, he slams it into the blood-stained axe. His sound is wetter than before. Fuminori's body goes limp, then tumbles face first into the floor. Koji stares at the two mangled corpses for a while. He feels completely left behind, like he can't remember why he's standing in this place with a steel pipe in hand. The stale air filling the ruined building becomes choked with the stench of blood. The crimson puddles gradually spread across the snow-covered floor, yet the tranquility of the scene makes it seem like a painting. A soft, slimy sound breaks the silence. Koji looks at the mortally wounded monster. The creature is on death's door, but even so it moves. Slowly, feebly, it drags its broken body through the sea of blood. It's coming for Fuminori. Koji had forgotten his anger, but now it comes surging back at full force. He growls and stabs the monster with the end of his pipe. It convulses in agony, but keeps crawling towards Fuminori. Koji explodes into a frenzy of rage. Again and again, he smashes the helpless flesh beasts with his pipe. Something tells him that if he does not stop it here, he will truly have lost. The monster, however, never succumbs. It struggles on beneath his blows, and finally it reaches Fuminori's corpse. Koji keeps swinging, his fury unabated as tears start to pool in his eyes. The monster slime flies through the air, joining with the blood already covering his face. The creature extends one thin, trembling tentacle to touch Fuminori's shoulder, then lovingly caresses his blood-stained cheek. Then it stops moving. Even in its final moments, the monster would not let Fuminori go. It died, joined with him.
I mean, at least she's committed, I guess. Fuck, man. Ride or die, I guess?
At last, Koji knows that the world he knew is lost forever. Conclusion?
Ooh. So he's insane. He's insane.
Yeah. Chunks of her body are missing, although something's been nibbling on her. It makes her look a lot thinner. She's been worried about her weight recently, but now she shouldn't need a diet. He sounds amused, but it's hard to tell from his expression since his face has been cleaved in two by an axe. Omi and Yo laugh at Fuminori's dumb joke. Yo used to never laugh with such exuberance. She seems truly happy now that she and Fuminori are officially together.
Oh god, look at her uneven, horrible fucking breasts that don't work that way.
What is this feeling? Something is wrong, though Koji can't put his finger on what. Ah, that's it. When he sees Yo's envious smile, Koji finally realizes what's bothering him.
But yeah, those aren't how tits work. Just saying, like, that. Yeah, I only see badly drawn tits, but look at them, guys! Come on!
Hey, Tsukuba. Yo tilts her head quizzically, like she doesn't understand what he means. Normal. Oh, of course. Koji looks down and is satisfied to see wiggling tentacles where his arms and legs should be. When he opens his eyes, his mattress and pillow are soaked in sweat. It's always the same nightmare. He doesn't know how many times he's had it, but at least he's not leaping out of bed screaming anymore. He sits up, clutching his throbbing head. It's 4 in the morning. He hasn't had nearly enough rest, but he probably won't be able to get back to sleep tonight. Time for a smoke. A full pack will last him until dawn. Now, where did he put the pack he bought yesterday? Koji wanders sleepily into the den where yet another old friend is waiting for him. Are they banging?
The doctor is... Yeah.
Ryoko's chopped up corpse is sitting at his dining table, looking as deathly pale as ever as she sips coffee from a mug.
I hope they're not banging.
あの時私の忠告を聞き入れてれば、ここまで追い詰められることなんてなかっただろうに。
もうやめましょうよ、それは。過ぎたことじゃないですか。
Ryoko chuckles, smiling at the same cruel maniac smile she used when she was still alive. Her left arm hangs from her half-severed shoulder, dangling like a forgotten wind chime.
そう、結構折り合いをつけてるんだ。
先生だってそうだったんでしょう。普段は優秀な脳外科医で通用してたんだから。
上辺だけ取り繕うだけなら、そんなに難しいことじゃないかね。でもね、多分この先はもっと悪くなるよ。心の傷は時間が癒してくれるけど。
She's probably right. Everyone dreams at night, no matter how dim memories may get. The nightmares will always be there to tear into Koji with fresh fangs. The insanity that has taken root in his heart will grow, eventually consuming everything that's left inside of him.
俺の場合、先生っていう前例を見て学んでますからね。抜かりはありませんよ。
へえ、そうなの。
Koji nods, smiling confidently, then stands and walks to the bathroom, where he receives the weapon that he keeps hidden behind the mirror. Ogai's revolver, the one souvenir that Koji brought back from the other world that night.
ものすごい苦労したんですけど、結局ようやくその筋の人と渡りをつけましてね。
Oh god, suicide ending?
弾も買ってあります。驚きましたよ。銃そのものより高いなんて。
おやおや。
In the mirror, Koji sees Ryoko with her axe-inflicted gash reversed. She raises her mug in a toast to Koji's resourcefulness.
何発買ったわけ？
One.
一発
Yep.
だけです。
This time, it's Koji who shrugs his shoulders. He uses both, exercising his privilege as a
それ
survivor.
以上必要になるような状況は、俺は願い下げなんで。
The corpse in the mirror notches sagely, her smile approving.
ほんと、わきまえてるんだね、トノ君。
There is a brief silence. Koji doesn't really feel like getting all melancholy with a corpse.
ねえ先生、いい加減ファミレスのコーヒーはやめましょうよ。なんなら新しいの入れますから。
When Koji turns around halfway through his sentence, he realizes that the room is empty but for the silence of the night. And so Koji returns to the land of the same. He lights his first cigarette of the night and takes a deep drag, while sitting alone in his den, puffing on his smoke, and stares at the gun in his hand. He knows just how precarious a cliff he's standing on. The final line of which Ryoko spoke is now one step behind him. Koji no longer has anything to protect his soul. And now that Ogai Masahiko's fantasies and Tambo Ryoko's delusions have all become tangible horrors, he knows what insanity and despair truly are. Back in the real world, Sakisaka Fuminori is wanted for several gruesome murders. It didn't take long for someone to discover the stockpiles of human meat in the empty Sakisaka and Suzumi homes, in the two refrigerators were the remains of Suzumi Yosuke, his wife, his daughter, and Takahaka Omi. They found the clothes and other artifacts of Tsukapa Yo, but are unable to locate any trace of her amongst the various body parts, a fact that made Koji's nightmares all the more vivid. Dr. Tambo Ryoko of T University Hospital vanished mysteriously around the same time. Because she was Fuminori's chief physician, the police have been investigating her connection to his crimes. As for the two corpses secretly buried in the backyard of a certain ruin, well, they'll probably never be found, and this incident will become another cold case. Koji alone knows what really happened, but he has no intention of revealing it. Not now, not ever. Ogai's writings were not nonsense, which means that everything else was. What fool was it who said that the men are the lords of creation? Those who can believe in paltry things like human wisdom and valor are those lucky innocents who have not looked into the abyss. Koji can no longer share in their blessed ignorance. He knows. He has been defiled by the insanity called truth, and he will never believe again.
This is so Lovecraft. Oh my god.
If he has been poisoned, as Ryoko's ghost said, then that poison is none other than the truth itself. Just as pure oxygen is harmful to the body, the naked truth has the power to destroy men's minds. Only by diluting it with lies and taking it in small doses can humans maintain a healthy soul.
どんなに世界が底抜けにめちゃくちゃになっていこうと
Words once spoken by the living Tanbo Ryoko passed through Koji's
悲
mind.
鳴を上げて逃げ回る以外の選択肢が自分にはある
That, without a doubt, was the comfort that she kept hidden in her bosom, the only thing that allowed her to face her dreams each night. Koji has taken his predecessor's lessons to heart. He's prepared for anything. One bullet is always behind the bathroom mirror, promising him salvation.
But he doesn't take it. We end without him killing himself. Hey,
I think-
no fucking shit.
I think that's the closest we can get to a good ending.
I think it's probably true.
Jesus Christ.
Alright, we only got a few minutes before I really should head to bed, but let's talk. What do you think?
This was a game.
Mm-hmm.
This was a game that suffered from a lot of exposition dump.
Well, I mean, yes, it's a dating sim though in some ways, so it's a visual novel. Like, all right, Brian Necros, how many endings we got? Did we get the best ending?
We're not.
I liked Saya. She was adorable when I first met her. Before she went all crazy, I was like, yeah, I like her. She can stay. But nah, Ryoko is best girl.
Yeah, Ryoko
is my boo. Yeah, the other endings are much worse. There are 3.
I believe it.
They're much, much worse. Well, alright, if that's what we gotta do.
So we got the quote-unquote good ending.
I doubt there's any ending in which Ryoko lives, which is sad.
Yeah.
But she ends on such a good note. And Saya is such a evil little thing, but at least she's devoted.
It's true.
You know?
I feel like we went through an ordeal playing this game.
Yeah, I feel
like,
exhausted. I actually feel worn out.
This is fucking literal hours of our life into this game. And you know what? I'm very happy we played it at the end of the day. This had a good story. It had very good Lovecraftian elements.
Mm-hmm.
It was filled with atmosphere that made us nervous to go from page to page, even if it wasn't
Yeah.
quote-unquote jump scary.
We got a little jump scared when Omi was first coming into the house. You and I were actually like, fuck, 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 fuck. Alright, so yeah, there is an ending apparently in which Saya, which Ryoko lives, but the world goes to shit. So,
Right.
You know, and Riko wouldn't wanted that, so I respect her decisions. I'm gonna write an inspired fic about this. I want to forget this. I don't want to deal with this today. Shit, fucks. It's a thing, and it is an experience, and I can see why this game is a legend.
Yes.
I'll say that this game is legendary, and I see why.
I mean, I'm not going to say that this went to like Serbian film levels.
Close.
But fuck, man. This was an endeavor. And I'm not going to say I wish this upon people, but this was an endeavor.
So that's Saya no Uta, guys. Hope you had a great time, but it is late. Oh god, there's a library now. I don't want to look at it.
I don't want to look at it either.
It's just gonna be porn.
Either way.
Wait. Actually, can you like turn off the screen and can we see if my waifu's in there?
Yeah, sure. Hold on.
All right, hold on.
Because I know in the CG library
sound.
there's just porn.
I know, but maybe there's like an image
Oh, yeah. No,
of my girl. Is that all of it? There's next. There's a next button. Bring me my girl.
So much porn.
There's so much porn. Oh my god. There's non-porn too, so I'm expecting my girl. One more.
Right here.
No.
gun?
I want the death scene. There she is! We can turn this back on now. That's my girl. Yes.
Hashtag waifood.
Yep. No, I think that's the note I want to end on. I want to end on her, even with her lung getting popped, being this awesome. Like, yeah. God, she's great.
Well, you guys know what we think. What do you think? Be sure to leave stuff in the comments. I don't even know how we're gonna break this up into episodes. This
We'll figure it out.
This may, I don't know, man.
One episode, just like throw it in there.
Just like be done. Well, we're gonna have to. We're already gonna have to edit through and get the fucking titties.
Yeah.
Get Enigma faces over stuff.
But either way, this is my life now. So.
Either way, let us know what you guys thought in the comments. Do you have ideas for other horror games that you would like for us to play? Send them, I guess.
Please.
Please.
It can't be worse than Saya.
It's true. We've hit a new low for shock.
Yeah.
Maybe not like atmosphere, but shock.
Yeah,
this is a
true.
new bar to clear. Anyway. Thank you everyone for watching this episode of The Screaming Closet. See you next time.
Keep screaming, fuckers.
Bye-bye.